Welcome everyone to this Thermocosplay Halloween makeup tutorial where I'm doing Gwen Stacy as Carnage. Ooh. So, I'm starting off clean, fresh-faced, and in my smock for airbrushing. I am using the Pinkio airbrush system right here, and I'll make sure to put links in the comments or description. Alright, let's get these contacts in. These are Pinky Paradise Dolly, I believe EOS Dolly in red. And this is how I put my contacts in. I know it's a little creepy and a little strange, but I make sure my hands are super clean and I just kind of open my eye both ways and drop it right in. Alright. With this done, we have to start getting ready to airbrush. In order to do that, I need to collect my paints, which are Endura Body Art. Let me show you. Here we go. This is my airbrush system along with my paints in front of it. I'm going to take the airbrush out and start setting it up for you. I've got the airbrush itself, the compressor, which is a mini compressor that is travel safe, and the charger. So let's give me a moment, get this all out. Here we go. Okay. Alright. Now let's get this set up. First you have to make sure the hose is connected properly. Next you need to plug in the charger. What I'm going to do, oh here we go, and you go on the back side. There's this little tiny area you can insert the charger into. Okay, and then this clip is to hold the airbrush. Next, I take the actual airbrush gun itself and I connect the hose bib to it so that I have airflow. Okay. Now I'm going to use Endura body paint in white, and I have to shake it up to make sure it's completely mixed together. I pour several drops into the actual gravity feeder, and then I use Transluce along with Fuel Activator, which is an alcohol-based activator, to mix up the paint and loosen it up a little bit more, as white tends to gunk up airbrushes. Alright, now I'm ready to get started. For this, I make sure I press the button twice so I'm on the second highest setting, and now I need to cover my hair up. This is to keep it out of the way, honestly. It likes to get a little bit annoying when you're trying to airbrush. Okay, so first I start far away, about 3 to 6 inches away, and I just kind of very gently apply the makeup. For this one, I'm going to freehand doing my own makeup, kind of basing it off of images from the comics of Carnage and just my own take of mid-transformation. Please note that when you are airbrushing yourself, if you are near your eyes, you need to keep them closed. If you feel uncomfortable with doing something like this, please get some help. Airbrush paint, especially Endura airbrush paint, which is suspended in alcohol and silicone, can lead to tearing in your eyes, and it's obviously not good to get into your eyes. So you'll want to be very, very careful. This is why people get a little nervous with airbrushes the first time. Perhaps don't start with your eye. I'm experienced, I've done this a lot. Maybe start with your cheek, your arms, your hands, something that you can practice with a little bit. As you can see, I continuously go over different areas in kind of a circular motion, trying to emulate skin texture and just very, very casually putting this on. I do not pull the airbrush trigger all the way back because I want to have a lighter kind of application so I can build up this white, but you can pull it all the way back if you want it to be more opaque. For alcohol-based airbrush paints, similar with water too, they will go on a bit more translucent, so you will have to build up with time. One coat may not be enough, especially with lighter colors like whites or pale blues and yellows. Think about your own skin tone too. I'm pretty pale, but sometimes you will have to change it up. Okay, now I need to clean the airbrush to use the red. So I'm going to use the alcohol activator. I poured it on this cloth and I'm going to wipe down the airbrush itself, take off the tip so that I can clean it. And I'm going to use, I'm going to use a Q-tip and clean the tip with the Q-tip and the alcohol. Make sure you have 99% alcohol or an activator that's been approved by the airbrush company or makeup provider. Alright, getting this all cleaned up. I want to make sure that I have removed any of the white so that it doesn't lighten the red into a pink, which is not what I want. Alright, I have cleaned and I am applying the red. Make sure your lips are closed. You do not want alcohol-based paint in your mouth. It does not taste good, and it's particularly difficult to remove. Now, as you can see, the red is going on a bit more opaque. Red in general, for individuals who have pale, peachy skin, seems to really, really like going on. So you will find that this paint just stands out. If you are worried about how opaque your color is, you can always go in later with a powder or with your makeup activator, your alcohol activator, and you can remove it with a Q-tip or a sponge. Same thing for water. If you have water activated airbrush paints, you can just take a Q-tip or cotton ball with water and slowly wipe away areas that you may have applied too much paint to. And I do indeed come in here a little bit later and make some changes. Right now all I'm doing is blocking out the colors because for my airbrush I don't have a tip that's fine enough to do the detail work I want to do for Carnage. That means I'm just blocking in all the colors and getting it where the larger portions would be. Rawr. Okay, yes, my chin is messy. I do edit this a little bit later in the video, but I don't mind going a little bit bigger with the red. It's fun. Oh, here, I'm switching to black. Okay. For this, I did not clean out the airbrush because I do want the black and the red to kind of blend with one another. I wanted to go from like a crimson into a really dark black. Oh, I need to test on my hand first. There we go. Okay, and that's a good way too, also to figure out the color or the shade that you're using is correct, testing it on your hand or on a cloth. I prefer to test on my skin because then it tells me the shade that it's actually going to be when I apply it to my face or my body. While I'm on this topic, if you have never used airbrush paint before, or if you haven't used any paint in general, please make sure that you test it on your body first before actually going to wear it somewhere important. I like to test on the underside of my arm and wear it around the house or go do chores with it. This will allow you to sweat and have your skin breathe, and you'll determine whether or not you're going to react to it within usually the first 5 minutes, but I suggest wearing it for an hour because everybody's body is different. Plus, there's some things that will happen after you've sweat or exerted yourself that may not happen while you're just relaxing. So, you know, maybe go for a bike ride with your underpainted arm. With the black, I am just kind of color blocking once again. I'm not too concerned if I overpaint or mess up any area because I will be correcting this with a brush later. Okay, here I have my brushes. I am using makeup brushes. They're a little bit older. They're Sailor Moon makeup brushes, but it doesn't matter. Any brush works. This is the Wolf Effects Face and Body Art. It is an alcohol activated palette. It looks different than the airbrush I've used. Here we go. It looks like, you know, kind of water paint you get when you go to a carnival. I also have the Maroon and Clown White, which is a combination between water and cream-based paints. Again, test this out on your skin before using it. Okay, I'm going to go in with the red and I'm going to start detailing more of the jagged lines and kind of maybe pumping the color up a bit more on my face. I do suggest using a fine-tipped makeup brush or something that isn't going to spread out too much while doing detail work. Also, you do not need very much alcohol to activate this paint. Just a little bit goes a long way. So keep applying the paint until you find it's not very gently going across your face. So if you dip your brush barely into the alcohol and then you scrape it across the paint palette and you collect as much product as you like, keep doing that until it no longer comes off of the brush. Then you'll need more alcohol. So the less fluid, the better. It makes the paint more opaque. This is pretty similar with water-based paints as well. You can activate water-based palettes with water. It's obviously in the name. Or you can use a makeup sealer like Maron Matte Sealant and have that be your activating liquid since it is water-based. And then you'll actually be sealing while you paint. So that's kind of useful. For here, I am again just freehanding it, kind of creating interesting striations across my face and trying to look more like a crazy symbiotic maniac. Again, when you're painting your face, please be sure that you avoid your mouth. And when you're painting your nose, especially when you're airbrushing, if you're going to airbrush your nose, then I suggest holding your breath and pushing the breath out, or just don't airbrush your nose at all and use an activated, like a palette, what I'm using right here, to paint your eyes and nose if those are sensitive areas for you, or if you're just too nervous to do it, which is perfectly fine. I understand that the eyes and nose are kind of scary places. Same thing with the mouth. Okay, now I've gone in with the alcohol-based paint in white, and I'm just going to start filling in my eye and creating more detailed work, creating more strips, like little kind of crazy spikes coming out of the white. Since this is a pull-away transition, I really want the white to kind of be a bit smushed, so it looks like, you know, carnage is slamming into me and coming over my face. But you can always go with the traditional look like Venom has too, where it's curved up and kind of has a bit of an angrier expression. Another thing I'd like to suggest is if you're worried about freehanding in any makeup, then you can actually use templates. You can make templates out of paper. You can make it using, you know, putting masking tape on your face and drawing some kind of symbol or design on it. You can also buy templates online and use those to create your makeup look. There are also stickers that you can use for your face, and there's just a lot of different things you can use if you're worried about freehanding a design. So please be sure to know that if you're not artistic, you can still do body paint. You just might have to use a couple more tools, and that's okay. Now you may notice that some of this white isn't very opaque. I did expect the white paint for the alcohol-based paint to be a little translucent. It's more opaque than I expected, but it isn't doing as much coverage as I'd like, so I will break out another white paint, which is the Mayron Clown White that I showed a picture of earlier, and I will be using that momentarily. Just need to fill in some areas with the alcohol-based paint to create a base for that Mayron. Again, this is alcohol-based paint, so when I do get close to my tear duct, I can feel a bit stinging. If you do not like the sensation that alcohol-based paint creates for you, then what you can do is use water and cream-based paints. Just know that they will require more reapplication, and they may have more transfer to clothing and masks, simply because they are not alcohol-based paint. Alcohol-based paint dries fast and is pretty flexible and stays in the body for long periods of time. I know people who have painted themselves for Star Wars Celebration as an example, and they've taken showers and the paint still hasn't come off. So with alcohol-based paint, you will need a special remover, such as maybe just coconut oil. They have special soap for removing alcohol-based paints, and most of the sellers who sell alcohol-based paint will offer a remover as well that you can use. Again, this is more of an advanced product. You can use water-based airbrush paints. There's nothing against that. I just prefer the longevity of alcohol-based paint, and I like that when I'm putting clothing on, I don't have it transfer anywhere. Okay. I am not going to paint my lips with alcohol. I will use the Mayron Clown White that I mentioned earlier. And I'm also going to start color blocking even more with the Mayron. I clean off my brush first. I don't want the alcohol in the cream paint. So let's do this. Let's go ahead, and you can see it's very opaque. It is safe for your lips. It is very, 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 very soft. It's kind of like putting on lipstick. When you use it too, you'll find that it goes on real easy. It is not the easiest to take off when you put over alcohol-based paint, so please be careful when applying any sort of cream-based paint over the top of alcohol. You can cover it with darker colors, but it may muddy the colors a bit. However, if you want something very opaque, the Mayron Clown White is amazing. You can use it as a base, and then you can put colorful powders over the top of it, or you can just use the white itself, like I'm doing here, to create kind of a angry carnage mouth, very toothy, like spiky teeth. I don't know what it is about Venom and Carnage and their crazy spiky teeth. They just, I mean, they're aliens, I guess. It's not supposed to look very realistic. Alright, I think I got my mouth done. Rawr. I really like going rawr. So now I'm going to start working on my eye. Again, with this being a kind of cream water hybrid, it is much more gentle on my eye, so I can get it closer to my tear duct without experiencing discomfort. It also spreads a lot easier, and I can use it to try and hide my eyebrow a bit more. What I do is I brush up and into the eyebrow quite a bit. You'll see me doing that soon. If you want to hide your eyebrows completely, what you'll need to do before you put makeup on is brush them upwards, and you can cover them with special makeup glue, or you can cover them with a glue stick, let it dry, and then pack it down with some, like I suggest just a general foundation, or perhaps even a concealer stick, and then paint over it if you really want your eyebrows to disappear. But I wasn't too worried about it for this application. I can work the white into my eyebrows pretty well, and they disappear nearly as much as I need them to, especially since I'm going to be shading this area. I don't mind there being a little bit of shadow. I think having the shadow kind of shows, hey, I'm still partially human here, I'm still in transition, but you are always welcome to remove it completely if you wish to do so. Just understand that you might have to add another 15 to 20 minutes to your routine to make that happen. As we've been watching this, I have sped up the video considerably. I've cut it as well. This took me about, oh my goodness, an hour and 15 minutes to do, and that's simply because I had to clean the airbrush in between. I had to clean brushes, and I encountered a couple issues later on that I forgot to film. It was just a problem with my liner, and I wanted to do more detailed work on my face, and it just stopped working, so I had to clean up some areas and then reapply. But mistakes are good. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You can always remove it and go back later. Yeah, removing it sucks, but you can always remove and go back later, and at least you won't have to worry about ruining it. The only thing that sucks about mistakes is the time that it takes to fix it. And once again, I am just drawing little lines all over my face to create kind of a webbing effect. I'm doing it sporadically, messy. I don't care if it looks crazy right now, because when I go in for my beauty makeup, I can always improve it. And it makes it look crazier. I mean, Carnage isn't supposed to be this beauty queen. Carnage is a symbiote from another world that likes to eat people and is pretty crazy, so I think that having a wild array of lines over my face is perfectly natural for this character. As you can see here, I am going into the eye spikes, and I'm starting to define them a bit more. I'm going to add some shadow right here with my eye, because I want there, when my hair goes there, I want it to look like it's darkening and something's kind of starting to slither in. I also create shadow underneath each of the spikes to make them more defined, and a few from my eye itself. So again, this is your preference for your art. You're putting it on your skin, whatever makes you feel comfortable, crazy, happy, evil looking, whatever you want to do. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to explore the realm of crazy makeup. Okay, I am pretty much done with the alcohol-based paints and the creams, so I'm switching to actual foundation and a little sponge. Here's my makeup brushes and regular beauty products. I apply a generous amount. I don't mind if I cover some of the existing paint, because I am going to go in there with some eyeshadow and detail lines with eyeliner later on. But make sure you do apply foundation or some kind of concealer on the other side of your face to even out your skin tone, and it will just make the makeup pop even more. I did paint further down on my neck than I intended to, considering I'm wearing a pretty high bodysuit. So do think about the clothing you're wearing and whether or not you want it to rub off. Foundation likes to rub off on clothing. Alright, now I'm switching up here to do a brush. I'm putting some blush on my cheek. This is just the base blush. I'm going to go in with some alcohol paint on my cheek too, just to make the red stand out more on my cheek. But, here we go. Alright, so now I'm going in with some red alcohol paint and eyeshadow, kind of a blend. I do eyeshadow first and then I do alcohol paint because I want the shade to match, but I also don't want it to get too close to my eye. So on my actual eyelid itself, I use the eyeshadow, and then on the upper eye, I go ahead and use more of the alcohol paint. There you go, alcohol paint on my cheek, make it more red. Yes, you can blend in alcohol paint while it's still wet, and it will look beautiful. Okay, let's see here. Next, there we go. Here we go. Here's the eyeliner, guys. I am not very good at eyeliner, so I know I'm going to mess up, which is okay for this look. But if you are really concerned about eyeliner, they do have pens now that actually have the shapes. They have tons of templates. They even have one so you can just stick it on and it's your eyeliner. So don't be afraid to use more tools when it comes to something that you need more definition. For Carnage, I need it to look a little bit messy and in transition. I do use an additional makeup brush to blend everything out, and I will be adding more red makeup to the top of my eye soon. I didn't put as much there because I knew that I could possibly get black and I needed to cover it. So once I've finished blending this out, I can go in and add more red makeup as needed. Again, mistakes are okay. Embrace your mistakes. It actually makes the makeup look more natural. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I just like looking like a crazy symbiote thing. Now, this is the eyeline pen that I was talking about. One of them had actually dried out. On the other side, there's two caps. There's one that is just this marker cap, and the other side is actually a winged eyeline cap. And you can line it up directly with the corner of your eye, and it creates a wing for you. And then you just have to connect. It's really easy. But I also like how opaque the marker side is, so I was able to start drawing veins and webbing and make more of a crazy definition than if I had used the alcohol-based paint. Eyeliner can be your best friend. I love the eyeliner markers. You can just draw with them. They're easy to use. They have good grip. And as long as you take really good care of them and you keep them clean, they are very opaque and they last a really long time. So I am using, I think this is one of my ELF or one of my Korean eyeliners, but you can use honestly any eyeline marker. You can also just get a Ben Nye, I think it's just a tattoo pen. You can get them pretty much any craft store. Most of them have tattoo pens, and those tend to work pretty well, but my favorite really are these eyeliners. These eyeliner markers are amazing. And they, most of them are alcohol based, or they're suspended in some form of silicone, so they're not all water, and that means they last even longer. Oh yeah, I need to switch to eyeshadow for shading. I've gone in with a brown and I wanted to add some contour into my eyebrow near my nose and on the corner of my eye, and then I also added a bit more makeup in between my eyebrows on either side too. Eyeshadow is your best friend with body makeup. You can use it to not only shadow your eyes, but to contour your face, body, hands, anything really. Since it's a powder, it's pretty easy to work with, and you're going to find lots of colors, which honestly, especially when I was starting out, eyeliner saved the day so many times. And eyeshadow, correction. Eyeshadow saved the day so many times. Okay, this is the HD Finishing Powder by ELF. It is amazing. It will set my makeup in place so that I don't have any transfer, because I have water-based, alcohol-based, cream-based, and eyeshadow, powder-based makeups all on my face. So I need to set them in place and make sure that they bake into my face and don't come off on anything that I'm going to wear. All right, now I'm going into the wig, guys. We are nearing the end. We're almost there. It was a long journey. Here we go. This is the complete look. Now, you can go darker if you want to, but I kind of like the peachy tones this has. It looks like I'm still transitioning. This makeup, if I wanted to, could last all day long. And now I'm going to eat you. Rawr. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions, please email thermocosplay@gmail.com or visit www.thermocosplay.com. And a big thanks to the Glendale Public Library for having me. Happy Halloween, everyone. Bye.